Kevin, let's talk about the chemistry, the cohesiveness of this clique. You guys stuck together. You guys were becoming a force in the locker room. There was also, back in the day, the Backstreet Crew with who was all in that? That was Taker. Who else was in the Backstreet Crew?
That was Yoko.
Yokozuna, Taker.
Yoko, Junior, Sammy, Hogman, Phineas. I think that's all. Everybody.
I think that's it. It was the clique. It was the BSK, and then I had just come in the company, I believe, because I was just running independent, or maybe I wasn't there yet. But man, when you guys got together, and obviously Sean was a world champion at the time, still correct, or had you taken the belt from him?
Let's see what I had the belt first. I was the first one to get the belt. I dropped it to Brett, and then Brett dropped it to Sean at Mania 12. But that was at the end. I mean, Sean wasn't the world champion until, basically we'd already given our notices.
Right.
Because Scott didn't work Mania 12, and because they got him on some bogus drug test thing, and then I did the job for Taker, which ended up being part of the streak, but I did the job for Taker because I'd given my notice. I don't think people fucking remember back then, but that contract you signed, I'm sure was the same as one I signed. Was your guarantee for the year was 10 fucking dates at $150 a date.
Dude, it was a starving artist rock and roll contract, man. You put your name on that motherfucker, and you wasn't guaranteed shit. But, it was your opportunity to the shizzo, If you wanted to be somewhere in the business, you had to go to New York. And, bear in mind, I had talked to Vince a couple of times from down there in WCW, but I knew they just were interested in me as a mechanic only. And I tore my tricep. Then WCW fired me. Paul Heyman picked me up. Vince started calling me again. And I only went there because I didn't have any other options. I need more than that one day a week with Paul Heyman and those guys at ECW to feed my family. So that's the only reason I went up there, because at that time I still knew that they didn't have any big plans for me. So, but how influential were you guys behind the scenes when it came to storylines and stuff as the clique?
I mean, I think we definitely had pull because we the spots we were in, the Intercontinental Championship spot was always the precursor to the world title, and between Scott, myself, and Shawn Michaels, we had that motherfucker pretty much wrapped for about 3 years, and then I had a year run with the strap with the world belt. Shawn and I popped in there a couple of times as tag champs, so we were always in the mix as upper echelon guys. Hunter was on a fucking Hunter hadn't lost, he was unbeaten, and so he was an up and coming star. Kid was always fucking in the mix because he was so talented, could have a match with anybody. When Brett actually worked on Raw, which was a big deal, and they put Sean Waltman in there with him just because they knew they'd have a fucking incredible because they never gave shit away for free back then, and Raw was a 1 hour show, and I think they did a 2 or 3 segment match that was just off the hook. So we all had and we had Vince's ear because number one, we fucking loved the business. We talked the business 24/7. We lived the business. And and we were vocal, and it wasn't like we just booked shit for us. We'd watch other shit that was on TV and say this could be better by this. So we just talked business. When you're on the road fucking 320 days a year at this point, and you're with fucking 5 guys that are handpicked brothers, and all you're trying to do is fucking make as much fucking money as you can, which is the only way you can do that is march your ass up the card. It was just it was a Shark Tank mentality, fucking, and we made a pact, the 5 of us, if we stay strong and don't turn on each other, we can fucking we can do what nobody else, because the thing was they always fucking worked the boys against the boys, and we were the first guys that said fuck that, man. So when we started getting payoffs, instead of fucking being like the rest of the fucking boys and said what'd you get? Oh, I'm not saying what you get. I'm not saying. Fucking, we'd get a fucking payoff for Survivor Series, and I'd say, what's your payoff? And Sean would say, fucking, I got 40 grand. I'd say, fucking 40 grand. I got 10. What the fuck? I was in the same match. Call up, hey, but so all of a sudden, immediately, fucking, JJ called, made the fucking call over to Vince, and said, hey, these motherfuckers are talking. So all of a sudden, now we're calling ourselves the Clique. We're giving ourselves a name, and we would go to the arenas early, put a fucking sign on the door that would say Clique Locker Room, and then go leave and eat. So when the boys would come back, they'd think the office put the fucking sign up. And they it was just, we just stirred shit. And fucking we'd come in, no, man, we don't need our own locker room. Fuck that. Take it down. Come on in, guys. And they really thought that, they thought that, we were getting, special treatment. So then finally got to the point where DiBiase and a bunch of guys were getting ready to fucking strike if they didn't fucking, dismantle the Clique, and fucking Vince came to a house show or a TV or something. He pulled the five of us in a room, and he goes, we thought we were fucking, we thought we had heat, and fucking Vince stood there and he just said, I got one question. How do I become part of the Clique? And fucking Sean said, you're already in, you love the business. And we just sit there and laughed, and we knew right there that we had Vince's ear. We knew, he knew that we fucking, all we were trying to do was make it the best product we could.
Right.
We weren't trying to hurt anybody. It was just like, I remember one time we had a big meeting in Columbus, and we were thinking, Vince was asking about different guys, what we thought, and we didn't like Bam Bam as a guy. We thought he was a dick. He almost got me shot in Sacramento. But fucking, could he play on our fucking team when it came to being a fucking worker? Fuck yeah, the fucker could go. He was money.
Right.
We didn't give a fuck. We didn't give a fuck about whether or not we liked you in the fucking bar. We just gave a fuck whether or not you could fucking go, and whether you fucking work hurt. Like if you were fucking one of the boys, and that was that era, fucking man. That you'd be in a bar someplace and fucking you look over and be some motherfucker giving one of the boys shit that it wasn't your friend, but he's fucking, hey, I don't like the motherfucker, but he's one of us, motherfucker. You put your hands on him, you're gonna fight 15 fucking guys in here. And it was just because we spent so much time on the road together, so much time in buses together in Europe, because we had to fucking strip mine that motherfucker just because the States were dead and Europe was still fucking pretty hot. So I remember sitting in the back one night with you, putting Coronas on top of our heads, seeing how fast we could drink them. It was like about 4 seconds apiece, and all of a sudden we look at each other. We've done about 12 each.
I remember that. I'm not proud of it, but I remember that.